welcome everybody. I said, welcome to the cow barn.
And she said, hello, Uncle Paulie. Can I have some oats?
Where's the cow?
She just went, y'all. Yes, she did.
Hear it.
All right, we'll take a poll. Anyone who heard the cow, let us know. We don't think we heard the cow.
Castilles, tell them. She was mooing right on it. That's her second moo.
Hey, we are so thrilled, guys. Every week we're thrilled.
Yes.
It's like our never-ending story, okay? It's like every week it keeps coming at us.
I know.
And you know what it makes me think about, you guys?
What?
The ones that do it every day. Because we know what this kind of takes. You know, it's a little bit more than we thought, right? Can you imagine every day we do a podcast episode?
It would have to be a different subject every day.
How could,
Yes, the pressure. Ugh.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
Even people like us who really like to talk, we'd be tired of talking if we had to do it every day.
I don't know about that, Susan. I mean,
if you had an everyday podcast, you would not have a guest every day. That just...
You would not?
Usually the everyday podcast people are like there's a podcast that talks just about murders, and they take a murder and they break it down.
Yeah, there's all kinds of podcasts. We learned that.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's so great. It's not even a crowded field because in the new days, you have the whole universe to put your podcast into. There's plenty of room. So you just have to get people to get to it, right?
Podcast is infinite.
So guys, we have Joe Piscopo coming on today.
Holy Toledo.
I know we're shooting big with Joe there. We got Jersey Joe on the show. We can't believe it.
I just don't even know what to say. You know, it'll be just like having old blue eyes.
You better figure out what to say because he's coming on in 25 minutes. So work it out, Susan.
Funniest guy on Saturday Night Live. One of the funniest guys ever.
He was on, and he's in the 80s. And listen, this guy came in with the second batch of where they reinvent the show with different groups.
I would not want to have been him.
He followed Belushi and Aykroyd and Steve Martin with the wild and crazy guys. But him and Eddie Murphy, man, they resurrected or reconstituted that show.
And Paulie, they're the pump you up guys, right? Is he one of the pump you up guys? We're going to pump.
He was either Hans or Franz.
Okay, because the kids are Brendan and Shane were huge into Hans and Franz.
Crazy.
Yeah, they loved those guys.
They'll love to know that we did this.
They will. They'll be very excited that we interviewed Hans or Franz.
And his impersonations. Listen, you know what the great thing about these guests is? We bring up what they did, right? And you talk about it. Right. The great thing is you can listen to the podcast episode and then go immediately to YouTube and see what we're talking about, hear what we're talking about. It's so researchable quickly. Yeah. That is such a cool aspect.
Speaking about having this podcast is when we do get a guest, which is all the time. That's what we do. We head into research land, and man, it's fun because you're wormholing and you're watching videos and you're learning new music, and you find all of a sudden it's like, honey, it's 2 a.m. You know, you kind of get lost in it, and it's cool.
Yes, and you realize everyone has a story. Everyone, you've had one hit. The stories are evening out. Whether you had 10 hits or one hit, the stories are amazing.
And to find out about the people behind the story, you know, I mean, everybody, like you said, everybody has a story, but like a lot of the folks we interview, I mean, they're celebrities, they're entertainers, and it's really fun to sit and kind of kick back with them and just talk about them.
Well, you know, what's so funny about that, Susan, also is that, you know, we were out there. I mean, we were doing our thing all through the years that all these people are doing their things. Yeah. But we kind of got busy with our thing. And so, you know, you don't really pick up on other people's things.
Right.
You know?
That's what I mean. So we're learning. Yeah. It's cool.
Yeah.
And it was a nature of the day, too. All of us kind of in parallel with each other were running these careers, you know, and once in a while you get wind of the other, they get near you enough.
Absolutely. And then it's like, I could even tell when we're talking to our pals, our peers, our cronies, some who we didn't think knew about us, but they did. You know, when you're talking to them, we're all living the exact same thing going on. You know,
but the kid in you never dies. If you hear like a guy like Joe Piscopo heard of you, the kid in you goes, he did? He knew what we did? He heard hair? Like in a car? Joe was in a car, heard it and liked it? So, you know, it's like fun stuff.
Speaking of Mr. Piscopo, and like we're going to start taking a tally of this. I wanted to mention this.
Okay.
A lot of guys from Jersey who we've been, and like, don't everybody start sending questions or complaints from Jersey. Let's just not go there. I'm just simply saying that some of the gentlemen we have interviewed from that area, when you ask them what they would like wanted to be, like what they were going to be, and it was just like, you know, like either a crook or a crooner. And so it'll be funny to see how many guys in a row tell you like that if they had a job like that, they who knows.
Should we blow through these current events and tell people where we're going? Because we do it. Hey, if we had a daily podcast, we wouldn't jump on you every day about this, but every week you got to hear what we're up to.
Yeah. And plus some of them get taken away. I don't want you going out somewhere where we've already played.
The Happy Together tour. We're so excited. We're going to have new merch.
Thank
We're going to have a new album.
I've got some bills to pay. Yeah.
We're going to hit 60 cities, we hope. We're going to out-manifest 60 till they tell us, no, it's 40.
Hey, I have an idea. Why don't we say, well, I heard there were 64 gigs, and I could sing When I'm 64 every night in honor of the 64 shows.
You know,
what do you
Susan,
think of that, guys? Well, you can picture Ron.
Go for it, Susan.
Whose last name will not be mentioned.
Hey, Susan. So you're wishing for that. You go for that because you're going to get out there and you're going to regret the day that you ever said, "Hey, I'll do this," because now your voice. You're going to be worried,
Susan.
Dude.
That was the first time.
Thanks, Paulie. Thanks. I feel better.
That's the first time your brothers in the band allowed anybody to mess with a Beatles song.
Why did you do it?
Because you were 7 and we thought, well, no one
but
will
it
know.
wasn't, that was the most embarrassing.
Yeah, when I'm 64.
Do you know what
it
it
Mike
was?
Douglas show,
Do you
I think.
know what it was like to be disliked by the group of you to begin with, and now to have to destroy a Beatles song because Dad says we're doing it, and you guys are hating me even more?
Okay. Time out.
Unmatched what?
It's because that's hard. I know Paul didn't because he was your guy, okay? But I didn't either. But I will say that my interest in you increased when it was time to go into the studio. And when we weren't in the studio or on the stage, whatever you were doing, I had no interest in that, of course. I mean, it's like, why would I be interested in you outside other than your sister?
The only time I see your face is when you
You're
want
saying
me
we
to
disliked
say.
you. It wasn't dislike. It was a decade between us. And, I had this and you had that.
I guess I'll be back. Some things you just
as
never
colleagues
get.
in the studio, the 7-year-old and the 17-year-old. Okay. I like that.
Are you saying you actually had respect for me in the studio?
You, Barry, and John on top of the vocal stack, and me, Paul, and Bill down in the middle, and Barry down in the middle and the below was unbelievable.
Did you respect us and think, wow, that's pretty good. Wow, that makes me feel kind of cool. I might mention that on stage.
I'm too young to respect you as an individual because I don't walk around thinking like that. But I did in the studio.
Okay, that's kind of cool. Thanks for sharing that.
Out of the when
Paul's sitting there going, "Are you two done?"
Because Paul was all over you guys,
Yeah, he was the best.
He was.
Paul, honestly, we joke about it in the show, but he really was the classic middle. And he's dealing with these kind of, I think, rough and tumble older brothers, because every time we saw the guy would slug him in the arm or say, "Hey, Paul," and hit him for some reason. Yeah. It was guy affection. But he had 3 guys doing it to him, so he's getting bruises. It's just not going well. And then below him are the 3 needies. From changing diapers to feeding to television time, he's navigating adult and baby world. Truly in the middle.
Yeah. Remember that time we were at church one time. And it was one of the last times too, because we were up at the big house on Halliday. And so all of a sudden we're marching off to church again. And I even know better now. I know there's no real thing going on. We all go down. Billy's leading it. What is happening? We go down, then something happens. I get on the pew. He looks down at me. He makes sure I know he's going to tell when we get home. We get home from St. Augustine. He tells. I get in like dumb, like no little precious child girl like me should have been in as much trouble. He totally ratted me out.
But what did you do? I haven't gotten what you did on the pew.
All I did was climb on the, I was being 6. I was being 7. I said something.
The church, folks. I don't know if people
know.
The
pew, and we were all there. And I just remember thinking, BS, we're all here together. Why is he here?
Bill is the guy that kind of interfered in a kind of parental way sometimes. And maybe that's the older firstborn business, right? Gotta be. Yeah.
But Paulie would do it. But the pickets. Paul would do it, but he would always just be like, knock it off. Not like you listen to me and then that.
Bill was notorious for telling on us.
God.
And it was insane because we never did each other, but he was good to unload
and
it.
Never tell on Bill. But Dickie used to tell too.
Is it okay to talk about the dead like this? I don't know. Is it bad?
I love talking about the dead.
I think of them as like just down the road.
You pretend like you're holding a guitar pick between your index finger and your thumb, and the other 3 fingers are whacking you on the forehead because you're giving them trouble at rehearsal.
And not only that, he would look at you and he would summons you to lean into his hand, so he didn't have to get up.
Come here. Let's learn it from
Come here,
Missy.
Missy, he'd call me. Come here, Miss.
All right, anyway.
Funny, we never
for some reason,
we didn't
I don't know why.
Bill.
We were on the Happy Together tour, and all of a sudden we're messing with our older brother. Okay.
Well, that's why it's our podcast.
So that tour is going to be a blast. Everyone's going to be so thrilled. Then September, we're going to be at the Cutting Room September 10th in New Jersey at Summers Point on the 9th. And then we're going to add some dates that week. And then October 1st is the Illinois. I've been saying May 1st. It's October 1st is our private gig at a private house in the private state of Illinois. So we're going to go there. And like I say, drive around Naperville till you hear the music and then just hang out in your car on the street, I guess. I don't know if you want to find us. Okay. That's then. And then after October 1st, we're going to be members of the Christmas show at the Andy Williams Moon River Theater with the Lenna sisters and the Letterman, and the Osmonds in spirit will be all over that stage. I know that because they always did it. And
I'm going to be unglued.
What?
I'm just so excited about that. It's just me being excited about what you're talking about. Remember when I was little, I used to get really excited. Well, it still happens every once in a while when I have not slept much.
Hey, if they put you in a duet with the 3 Lettermen, don't get any ideas, all right? But they're going to look at Susan and say, what can we do more with the girl? It's always that.
But excuse me. Hey, first of all, heard that. And secondly, who do you think's going to take the arms of the lovely Lennon sisters? You are. And you're going to stroll with them like this. You're going to stroll arm in arm with them. I'm going to have a muff on my hand.
Well, the weather outside is
frightful.
Oh, so delightful.
Oh, we can't wait, people. We don't know what, honestly, we're going to have Merrill Osmond on. We'll get them. We're going to get Kathy Lennon. We're going to talk to these people.
If we don't get them now, we'll get them after.
Before we do it, we got to get them on, and they're going to fill everyone in on what we've done.
And then, like you said, Kathy Lennon, she can tell me what I have to wear. And is there any of Marie's leftover dresses I could borrow?
Oh, you mean before we're going to have them on before? Well, I don't know. Hey, guys, I got a gripe. I have lost at least 2 computers and probably a couple of phones due to the fact that I never did the updates, because I was always told, man, don't push that button. And so as I never did these updates, the technology was passing by my phone and my computer. So my gripe is these updates and taking them. Then I started to take the updates. And Luann told me, she goes, hey, you're going to ruin these things if you don't do those. You need to take them. But every time I take them, and this is my gripe, the path changes. When I look at the phone now, it doesn't look like my old phone. And sometimes I can't access right away what I'm looking for. So basically my gripe is these updates. Why don't they just keep them the same look and update? But I don't know why, but you can see I'm confused with the issue myself.
Susan, you want to go first, or do you want me to go? How do we want to handle this?
I think you should go. Mine's going to take a little different turn. It's still a phone, but it's going to take a turn.
Well, here's what I don't like.
I have things to say.
I don't do those updates either. I hear remind me later, until I think this says there is no later or something, but they do it. I don't like when they get impatient with us and they do it on their own. Okay. Yeah. And they do it. And it's been done to me. And then, yes, it comes back up. Now, look, what I want from the updates are all the new virus protections. So they really could split that update into fun stuff. And if you want more, the update and virus protection, upload this, because not all of us want to have a new phone, basically. Paul, same thing. Doesn't look like what I had. And they don't send you a message that says, here are the differences you will see with your new update.
Right.
Nothing, no clue, no hint. You're on your own. This isn't it. Oh, I used to do this. Well, not anymore. It's done this way. Well, how do I find that out? Well, today you just find that out. There's no tutorials. I
and technology do not get along to begin with. Everything you guys are talking about. In fact, right before I came here, I brought Russ's computer because of our podcast, and I'm away, folks. We'll just leave it at that. And then he said, I have a lot of updates that need to happen on that computer, so don't say yes, or I may never see you guys on our podcast.
That takes control.
right?
Yeah.
So feeling you. And then, of course, there was the original when you get your first cell phone, everybody screams, don't touch the updates. Don't do the updates. Like your phone's going to explode. Then they come to you and go, you need to update your phone. And you're like, you've been telling me not to. And then they're like, oh, right. But now it turns out your phone will be ruined if you don't. I'm like, cool. And then, oh, you may have already ruined it. Then also it will go too slow. Oh, it's too slow if you don't update. So update, shmupdate. And they do it just so we have to keep buying new phones and getting new things. It's like Barbie, new accessories. They give her a sister, a boyfriend, and you notice in the Barbie land, they never had parents. But anyway, yes. But moving right along to my gripe. When I'm texting and then I want to look at a picture and I go horizontal or something like that while in texting, and then I scooch it back over this way. Next thing I know, my words are still sideways. My messages are coming down like this. And Russ has even tried to figure it out and can't. So we know it's real. And so you have to down, what do they call that? Power down.
Oh, yeah.
And then when you come back up, everything's straight again. It happens a lot.
You need to get rid of that.
When all else fails, you reboot. Yeah.
Reboot.
Susan, I would suggest to you and all the people that are like you to go ahead and get an Android. Much easier, much simpler.
I'd say go back to the typewriter personally.
But Paulie, you know how much you hate new stuff and like the new things they're making you do because of upgrade?
Right.
Well, I don't want a new whole phone. I don't want a new therapist. I don't want a new husband. I don't want a new primary caregiver. I don't want a new anything.
Well, I'd like a new car, but.
Okay, wait. I want a horse in a treehouse still.
You want to do a fan question?
Yes.
Hey, it's very simple. How do you decide who sings lead vocal on a song?
Well, in the old days, we had Billy.
Hey, Paul, that's the answer. We gave it to Bill.
Right.
And then they wanted everyone to be represented somehow.
That is hilarious. No, but that's the answer. True back then. No, look, in a way, between Paul and I, for instance, okay, there's a difference in our voices. When Susan comes in with Rhythm of the World and she wrote it, it's usually for her. When Susan writes a song, it's in her voice, it's in her key, and you hear it, you go, yeah, that's you, man, that's you. Now, when we on the other side, we have guy songs, and the Cowsills have always been, kind of more guy than just Susan. That's why she comes in with less than the guys who have always been on it more. Now, when it gets to our songs, I don't know, Paul, it's like, do you remember any big discussions? It seems to fall into place for some reason. The voice matches the song.
Yeah.
We almost know it.
Yeah. I mean, you and I both have the same thing that Susan has, is if you write them, you're probably going to sing them.
Yeah. Like Paul, like Paul did Goodbye's Not Forever on Rhythm of the World. So he sings it. But not only that, but if the song is more of a rocker, it might go more toward Paul. If a song's more of a ballad, it might go toward me.
Oh my God, this is like 16 magazine. Like, oh, I'm the shy one. Oh, he's the smart one.
By the way, my favorite color is blue. And I do like people with a sense of humor. And anyway, but I guess it's not like a lot of discussion takes place. It's sort of
it really isn't. It seems like it's obvious, and I don't know why it's obvious to us. But
we don't know why. Okay, so the answer to the question is how. We don't know how.
And also, one thing I would like to share. So I have like, it's not even a right phrase, a solo career. That implies that, you do things and money comes in and that's how you roll. But I do make my own records. And what I can't stand, y'all guys, is like when I go and I become a Cowsill person and I do it like this. And then everybody's like, well, why aren't you singing all the people who whatever with my stuff? And I'm like, because that's not what I am. We're just whoever we are in this. And that's, and that, and then, oh, well, it should be more of the girl. That whole chicks up front thing. It's been going on.
Also, Susan, you got to cut them with a little slack because they learned from the internet that solo career and the fact that you do more singing has netted you over $3 million.
Well, if you go,
because your net worth is just skyrocketed, and certainly not in our band.
You guys have seen that, right? I'm worth $4 million.
We're trying to put it together, and to be honest, we didn't say, so she took the money. We just said like, me and Paul were saying like, hey, solo career, rock it, baby.
That's the funniest thing ever. I don't know why that's up there at Casters. If you go and Google my net worth, just, go ahead and call us. Don't call me for money, though.
The other thing about the lead vocals, they got me thinking about that. Like if I hear Nuclear Winter or I hear Goodbye's Not Fair that Paul sang, I go, well, yeah, he sings that one. I couldn't sing that one. But then I hear Largo Nights and I go, yeah, that's me. I can sing Largo Nights. And I don't know, Paul could have, gotten into the Largo Nights like I could. So I think after years of being together, we must have a sense of where to put each other.
Yeah, I think so. It's not even a thought.
I think we're just organically become whatever it's supposed to be. So. And we definitely aren't, oh, well, you have more or less. I mean, only if somebody's sitting there saying stuff like, why aren't you singing more? It's like, why are you even asking me? And I don't care. And that's the only time I think of it, because they don't understand that this is how it rolls. And on a lot of our stuff, guys, we do like we all take a part of a lead. So that's the thing too.
I never thought of that. Nuclear Winter, which you don't know yet, but you will, has 3 lead vocalists.
We do it in another one too, where I do the bridge. So it's like that Fleetwood Mac kind of share the lead.
You do the bridge in whatever that. You got to get up. Hey, I'm changing my answer. Why isn't Susan singing more? I say, well, because I'm going to say she's all over this thing. What are you talking about?
Oh, totally.
Yeah,
totally. We've made that. Yeah, it's funny how this all rolled out that way, but that's exactly what it is. We each take a particular spot in a song and do a lead part. It's
just that good old fashioned put the girls in the front.
Interesting. Hey guys, I gotta. Did you guys? I got a couple of pufferfish things here.
Okay, it's 101. It's 101. Be ready.
This is where we wonder.
I will. But let me get this in. So guys, when you buy an apple in the supermarket, it's already a year old.
Really?
Yeah. Yep. It sits in refrigeration storage for a whole year, usually, if not more. And then you get to buy that apple.
That's why absolutely blowing my mind.
Fresh fruit off a tree, even an apple, because I have an apple tree, that apple tastes so good. And you wonder why this apple doesn't. Well, I found out it's a year before.
What about tomatoes?
Then why, if the apples can be a year in it, why don't we refrigerate our apples? I mean, wouldn't they last longer then? If we might
actually last longer if you refrigerate them.
I don't refrigerate apples.
Yeah, no, I don't either. Usually you eat them quick enough.
You do?
I do. Just because I like them cold.
Apples last longer?
I think so.
I imagine they would.
Like that. I don't know how you study that.
So the Fruit Loops
I'm excited.
Okay, are all the same flavor.
Well, I believe that about all those cereals.
But no, all those different colors, because on the back they say red is cherry, orange is orange, yellow is lemon.
Isn't that
that's not true, because I separated them when I was little.
Okay.
Yeah, but did you separate M&Ms and think those tasted different too?
No, I knew M&Ms were all the same, but different colors.
But like, what are those things that I love? The Haribo gummy bears.
Gummy bears.
So now those do have a bit of a different taste.
They most definitely do. I still challenge that. I challenge your puffer.
Take a little air out of the puffer fish, huh? Is that what you think you're going to do?
Here's an interesting one, you guys. So in the Philippines, in McDonald's, guess what their number one dish at McDonald's is? In the Philippines.
In the Philippines, number one dish is
fish sandwich.
Geez, I don't want to profile. Rice? I don't know.
Nope. It's spaghetti and meatballs.
No way.
Joe
Piscopo, people.
Here's your Joe.
I'm pretty excited. I'm a little, like, maybe too excited, like not normally how we do. So
this isn't normal.
Forgive me. Yeah, you're
okay.
But here's what I like to always start off asking our guests, because we all know where we are. We're musicians, entertainers. You're Joe Piscopo. You're a comedian. You have music in your heart and soul as well. Ooh. But we all start off the same. We got mom and dad. We get born. We get to tricycle. We get sent to kindergarten. We are watching TV, and we're supposed to, I think, within all of that, figure out who we are and what we want to do with our life. So what was little Joe thinking before he was thinking he might want to be one of the funniest people ever, and or a musician? Did you have anything outside of the entertainment industry on your mind?
No, I was a baseball guy. Susan, I was a baseball guy back in the old days. and I'm a Yankee fan, you know, and it was always playing baseball. It was always about the Yankees. But I can remember third grade. I remember my mother would insist that I take piano lessons. I mean, to be among astute musicians like yourself, I'm embarrassed to tell you that, but I took the piano lessons, you know, with Mrs. Gimbel in Glen Ridge, New Jersey. She used to keep time on my shoulder. You know, I used to leave, rehearsal like that. So then we did it was like a play, like kind of a recital is what it was. And we had, the theme was a Mexican kind of theme. And it had like a donkey, a cutout donkey, you know, and probably racist, but we didn't think about it at the time.
Right.
Because it was celebratory of all the great Mexican music. And that's what we were doing, you know, playing it. And so we did I remember I played my song and I remember exactly where I was, like yesterday, I remember this. And then I walked backstage and Mrs. Gimbel was in a panic. I said, what's the matter, Miss Gimbel? She goes, we left the donkey on the stage because... So the cutout, the burro was there, you know, on the stage. Yeah. So I go like this. I go, I'll get it like that, you know. What was 6, 7, 8 years? I walk on stage and I look at the donkey to a full crowd, and I go, hey, what are you doing like that? Now I'm a kid. You got 7-year-old like this going, hey, what are you doing? The place explodes with laughter, and there was my comfort zone right there. That right there.
Wow.
Like my comfort zone. You feel isn't that weird? It must be because you're so insecure. You need that approval, you know, whatever it was. But I took this.
So were your folks musical?
That's a great question. My mother was. My mother danced, tap danced, but she couldn't afford tap shoes coming out of Newark, New Jersey. So she never danced. So she got me everything that she probably couldn't get. Like she got me the guitar, she got me the drum, you know, and the amplifier and everything. That they ended up talking to the Cowsills. Like, you know, that's, you know, in the 60s, we all wanted to be like you. You know,
so sure.
That's so flattering. Most of us say Beatles in a sentence like that, but that's okay. We love that you said us. Are you kidding?
Yeah. Joe's.
It was like that. So yeah, Mom was very musical like that at the piano and such.
Were they supportive? So when they saw little Joe heading for this thing, was Dad and Mom happy?
You know, I said, I gotta dye my hair a little darker.
Oh, dude, look.
No, look at me and Paul. What are you talking about?
No, me and Joe are still working the program. It's what Joe and I are talking about.
Where you get surgery and or plugs. I'm not
Dude,
sure.
I just don't know. I look like I'm going bald because it's all white under there.
You know, you get older and then you look at yourself right before makeup, before you go in. I speak for myself. Before you go on camera and you look at yourself and they put all the cake on you.
Yes.
You have any Botox here? I said, you know, any Botox?
Yeah. Stand in.
And then they send you into the high def world of high definition, and everyone's like, oh my God, I see everything. You mentioned every element of a rock and roll band in just now. So what was going on in high school? What about the music?
My parents were very patient in that regard. It was Dave Clark 5 early on. You know?
Love.
Because you had Mike Smith at the keyboard, right? And it was that cool box keyboard, Dave Clark on drums, and Denny Paxton on saxophone. You know what? Think of the mix of that band, which I think influenced Bruce Springsteen. He'll never admit it, I don't think. You know, the Animals, certainly. I was an Eric Burdon freak. Loved Eric Burdon. I just loved the raw sound of the Animals. Everybody loved the Cowsills, of course. But when you go back earlier to you guys, it was, I think that the Dave Clark 5, that mix was a hip jazz almost kind of mix. When you think about it, Rick Huxley on bass, you think for them to add a keyboard and to add a saxophone, to me was like, wow. And then they wore those white priest-like collars. Remember, you hold it and you got, they would play on the Ed Sullivan Show. And I said, wow, that's cool. Then Eric Burdon came out and I went, whoa. I said, listen to the blues. I got totally with the Paul Butterfield Blues Band, the Blues Prize.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Like, I was taken aback. And then I started listening to all the early blues artists of the day, whether it was Albert King or it was just some of those great, it was a lot of white guys who got all the music from, as you know, the black musicians from Chicago came up from the plantations. So we started listening to Muddy Waters, you know, and John Legal. And
Jimmy Reed, lots of guys, man.
And that's
Jimmy Reed is awesome.
Yeah, and Eric Burden exemplified all that. So it was like, so we did a lot of animals, and I had a band because the Donovan song, Hey Chip, you know that song, Hey Chip?
Yep.
Yes.
Well, Eric Burden does this song. I was cutting school at Skip Felsenfeld's house, and I heard that song, Hey Chip. I loved it so much, you know, the G to the F, you know, and we named the band Hey Chip. I swear to God.
Hey, that's cool. Wow.
I know I feel funny telling you guys. I mean, you guys are the Cowsills, but you know
we
what?
got stuck with that, Joe.
But you know what I'm saying? And it was awesome, man. And I played it, and we put a B3 organ in too with a Leslie speaker. You know, my buddy Ricky had an organ. How cool was that?
My buddy
You're doing this in high school. You're doing it in high school.
We were good in high school. We played through high school, but there was one band, the Man-Childs, and were better than we were. There were like two other bands. We were kind of like the third tier band. And when they couldn't get the other two bands, they hired us, you know?
And are you the lead singer? Are you doing cover tunes that are going to develop you as a singer?
You know, the Vox guitar, that really wasn't a Vox, but it had VOX on it. That's all I cared about, you know?
And sometimes it's how you look, not how it is, you know? That's true.
It's an illusion, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Okay. This music sounds like a pretty strong foundation for you. It's going to follow you through your career. We got to get moving. All right. When did you first get wind that you could impersonate people,
anybody,
whether it was a classmate or someone famous? How does that come into your whole world? Because we're good at it, are good at it.
Attention. All it comes down to attention. And it came down to laughs. So there was my father's best friend across the street, Mr. Giamalo from Brooklyn, Sicilian, born in America. And he made the ragout, he made the mozzarella, he made cottage cheese. And he was
nice.
Yes, and he lived across the street. He was my father's best friend, and I so admired him. But he talked. If this is a dead-on impression, and this is the first impression I did, Mr. Giamalo, he would go, "Hey, Joey, how you doing?" And he had a Brooklyn accent, so when we go surfing, he go, "Are you going surfing?" With the K at the out of the way. Good. And he would smoke Salem cigarettes. And he had a glass eye that went out, and it was like, and Giamalo. And when he would laugh, he'd go, Take a drink of cigarette. Go.
Okay.
Impression. Dead-on impression. You would know, of course, but
I feel like we know him now.
Michael and David and all the gang down the show, they used to crack up. We used to do Mr. Giamalo. And by the way, I miss him greatly to this day. Great guy, you know.
Well, was the first experience when you did that? Did you get your laughs, or did you get smacked in the head for being disrespectful? How did it go?
It was the laughs.
The laugh. Great. All right. Well, that's because, people look, you can go look all this stuff up. We're not going to, but his impersonations, if you want to see David Letterman and hear him, you will. And he'll actually throw in Paul Schaefer. Look, it's crazy. All right. We got to move on. All right. Here's what got our attention. The album you made in 1985 for Columbia. Okay. There's some things going on there we want to unpeel, if you don't mind. Was that the only album you ever made?
You know what? We did, I think I had a 2-album deal with CBS Sony. Rick Churchill. And it was for the 2 albums we did the I Love Rock and Roll, which was Frank sings the rock tunes that those young people enjoy.
Please.
Under My Thumb is hilarious.
Go ahead.
And then we did New Jersey. We followed
New Jersey. We're talking about New Jersey. Yeah.
The album was New Jersey. But I got to tell you, on that album, the original album, Tim Curry hosted the show and did a Killer Mick Jagger on Saturday Night Live. So he comes in and we're in Lauren's office. Lauren wasn't producing, Dick Ebersol was, but we're at the 17th floor of NBC and we're about to do the show. You have the host, a meet and greet with the host. And Tim goes, I do Mick Jagger. And he starts doing the Mick Jagger. And so we start thinking, wouldn't it be funny if Frank Sinatra sang with Mick Jagger and this switch? Not unlike he did with Elvis, back in 1957. So we go, so sure enough, that's what we did. So I ended up doing the old man, with Mr. Sinatra's permission, by the way. And I did Under My Thumb, that chick, she shot me down. Yeah. Thumb. And you
can watch that. You guys can watch that It is awesome. I mean, that's the fun of today. You can see what he's talking about. After the show, go look at Joe Piscopo doing Under My Thumb is Frank Sinatra. That jumps us into Frank Sinatra.
Wait, Paulie's got his finger up.
I just had one question before we go back to Frank. Why did you remove the drums from Wipeout?
Wait, what did I do now? What did I?
Now, Paul, listen. Hey, Joe.
Great question. You are good, brother. You are good. First of all, you know who produced that album? Hal Willner, the legendary. He did all the incidental music. Worked with Kurt Weill, and you know him. He worked with Elvis Costello. Hal Willner, great record producer, genius. Rest his soul. Last year. So we wanted to do music plus one. There were records out. Yes, records when we were kids, and it was like music. You could play the drums, and they would leave empty tracks for you to fill in, a guitar to sing. Yeah, like
karaoke almost.
That's
what. So we parodied the music plus fun, and now the drums, and you had to do the drums. Oh my God!
All right, but I got to take you through what the listener went through. Okay.
Yeah.
So we put that. So you put that on, and it sets it up. Lesson number 1, the drums or drumming. And then you sit, okay, drums. And then all you hear is Wipeout without the drums. Now, the first thing you got to get over is they took the drums out of it. Like, take the string quartet out of Yesterday. He takes the drums out of Wipeout. And you're, as the listener, you go, what is he telling me that I'll hear them anyway? I did. Are they saying Wipeout's good without the drums? This is a good song without the drums. What's the message? So we're overthinking it, and to move on right after Wipeout, he goes into this 4-part a cappella, beautiful harmony, about a minute of whatever song that was. Is that you singing?
No. What was that? I said, I want to sound like a black man. That song?
No. Right after Wipeout, you're doing a cappella, like barbershop quartet almost.
That was, that's great. It was not me doing the barbershop quartet. That was
okay,
great.
I'm not going to give you all that credit I've been giving you. Go.
Oh, and I wish I could remember the names. We hired actual real barbershop quartet. That album was, Stan Freberg, the genius, and a lot of these folks who did comedy on records.
Sure.
And that's what all about. And we had June Foray, and we had all these great, Rocky and Bullwinkle, the original voices.
Steve, the Hello Mother, Hello Father.
Yeah. No.
That's Alan Sherman.
That's very similar. Thank
you, Joe.
Alan Sherman did. It was like a time, and we tried to duplicate that. And I tell you, that New Jersey album is exactly that. But I got to give Hal Willner, late great Hal Willner, credit. Produced it, said, here's what you got to do. We sang My Oh My, the song. We did David Letterman singing My Oh My.
Oh, yeah.
Orchestral arrangement, And then when we did the album before that, and again, crediting Ralph Schuckett, who we lost this year too, my goodness, rest his soul. Ralph Schuckett arranged and conducted, Rick Chertoff produced at CBS, the rock and roll. We had the things from the Lincoln Center. We had all the top. I had Bones Malone, Al Rubin, Lou Marini. I had all the top cats of the day, playing. Wow. Yeah, we were doing Mr. Esther, and thank God Mr. Sinatra loved it, because that's really all that matters.
Yeah, we got so one more thing about New Jersey. And by the way, you can go on YouTube and listen to the whole album, New Jersey, for free. Sorry, Joe, but you can. You can, and you got to listen to this. So one more thing about that, and we can move on to Sinatra. But New Jersey, the song itself, did you write that?
No, great question. What a great question. A guy by the name of Nate Herman wrote it, a writer from Saturday Night Live.
Okay, but
no, I was gonna say Nate wrote me the sketch where I was Abe Lincoln, and then.
but listen,
too much noise in the theater, and then he yells down to the people saying, "Could you keep quiet?" And he goes, "What are you gonna do? Shoot me?"
But listen, when New Jersey starts on the album, the song New Jersey, that's the title. The album's called New Jersey, but the song's called New Jersey. Yeah. It's like it starts, and it's the E Street Band, it's Bruce Springsteen, but it's Joe, and I'm going. But I can tell it's a well-produced record. This is not a joke. Okay,
and you have a phenomenal voice.
Thank you. I did a kind of a Bruce take on it. Anton Fig on drums, by the way, and all this was Paul Schaefer influence, because Paul told me.
Oh, that Schaefer.
Paul told me, get the band, get the sound, and he understood. He's like,
okay.
musical genius. But yeah, Bruce heard that. Thank God. Dave Marsh told me Bruce heard that album and again loved it. You know, it's a trip. When I do Mr. Sinatra or you do Bruce, it's a tribute. You know. How
did you end up in a Tom Petty? He mentioned you in one of his songs.
Excuse me, Tom Petty and who else? Bob Dylan.
No, Tom Petty.
And Bob Dylan.
And Dylan wrote that song, Jamming Me. So they used. I thought this was so cool. I'm sorry.
I bet.
Listen, they go like this. I didn't know Dylan co-wrote it till recently.
I didn't either until he said that.
Oh, so they wanted to use an analogy for television, and Eddie and I just broke at the time. You know, Eddie Murphy and I just broke at the time. So they said, jamming me like it's too much information out there, too much MTV. Take back Eddie Murphy, take back Joe Piscopo.
I love it.
Why did I say that? I was like thrilled. I was like thrilled to be in a rock song, man. You know what I
mean? We were always thrilled to be mentioned on Letterman.
We call them honorable mentions, even though they're making fun of us, you know, because we were in David Letterman's top 10 list on what Iran would do with the $400 million we gave him, and they say bring the Cowsills out of retirement. But hey, listen, you mentioned Saturday Night Live. Just a short. We're not going to get, like I say, we got to skip over so much with you. You come in. We're really curious about this. You come in 1980 on Saturday Night Live after the Belushi, Aykroyd, Steve Martin group leave, and you're going to kind of reconstitute this show, and you're going to meet, I think maybe that's where you hook up with Eddie Murphy, and we're going to get all this good stuff for 4 years from you and Eddie Murphy. Our question is, did you feel any responsibility going into Saturday Night Live in terms of carrying the weight of the success of that show on kind of your shoulders? I mean, everyone's looking at you now, right? What was that like?
Exactly right. It was. We had to replace America's favorite television show.
Wow.
Oh, tell us.
Greatest cast ever assembled ever to this day. And but a shout out to Lauren. I mean, with Belushi and Aykroyd, Gilda. People forget about the brilliance of Gilda Radner, you know?
Oh, really?
So I didn't want the job. By the way, stand by for the autobiography. We're putting that together finally.
For real?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm Italian. I don't talk that much. I protect the pride.
You're right a lot. We're going to get 5 volumes. Watch.
But I talked to the writer. We were talking yesterday, and it's exactly right. I was doing okay as a character actor out of the comedy clubs in New York. I didn't want to go on Saturday Night Live. They brought me in. They needed a utility guy, and they said to get Joe in here. So they said I got the job, and I didn't want the job. So I told my agent, Chris Albrecht, at the time, who was like the comedy guy that put us all together at the clubs. He's the guy that was our agent at ICM. He was the guy. Chris has put on The Sopranos, put on Larry David, gave me my HBO specials, and he goes, "You're doing the show." I said, "Chris, I can't, man. Yeah, how do I replace these great?" He pressed.
That's what I'm saying.
And to your point, and we went on the air, and Jean Domania was the producer, and she deserves credit for hiring. Not me, but mostly Eddie Murphy. We talked her into hiring Eddie. I said, this is the next Pryor. As soon as I met Eddie, I was talking about that. I walk in, 19 years old, guys. He's 19.
Wow.
And he's from Long Island, and I hadn't met him, and we hit it off, and he was just funny and brilliant. And I said, to Gene Domania, this guy's Pryor. This kid is Pryor. He's beyond Pryor, I'm thinking. So we did an audition together. And we did word association. Remember Chevy and Richard Pryor did that word association?
Yeah.
That so politically incorrect word association. So I played Chevy and Eddie and Richard, and we did it back and forth, and Eddie just nailed it. It was great. Then I thought, maybe we got something here. We glitched 10 shows in. They took us off. They brought in Dick Ebersol, the executive producer, sports guy really, but a great producer. And he brought Lauren in. And no disrespect to Gene Domania. You got to give Gene credit. She hired everybody. But Dick said, let's just be funny. That was the key. So Eddie went out and we goofed around. We laughed on camera. The synergy was there. The chemistry was there. And by the grace of God, and I think only by the grace of God, I went like this. Oh, thank you. Or my people would go like this to make the sound.
But did Eddie, he was 19 years old. You had to be part of, like, he's not going to know about buckwheat and Froggy, let's say, right? Did you have to?
Great point. Great performers, whether they're Robin Williams or Eddie Murphy, or they're great entertainers, I find, they know the history of everybody doing everything.
That's impressive.
Radio show. This kid, Joe Piscopo, is a great kid. He knows everything. He'll do references I don't understand. He does a great Paul Lynde impression. I'll leave it right there. I mean, really.
Love it.
Eddie knew Amos and Andy. He would study these guys.
Wow.
And he comes to me and he goes, first of all, he says, he goes, hey, I want to do something. He was a featured player. He wasn't a regular player, Eddie Murphy. So he goes, I got an idea for a sketch, Joe. And we were like brothers, we're very, very close. I go, what are you thinking? He goes, well, I think I want to play a basketball player, and I want to say that there should be no white people on the court. No white people. 81. And I'm going like, you know what? That's hysterical. You want to leave? Yes. Come to Weekend Update. And we put Eddie next to us on a like two phone books, so he looks taller than me. Before we stepped on camera, I hear Eddie whisper to himself, and it's live. Eddie goes to himself, the kids at Roosevelt High will never believe this. Is that wild? That's how young you are.
That incredible.
Sat down, and I go, hello again, everybody. Joe Piscopo live, Saturday Night Sports, the big story. NBA, whites, blacks, what's the story, Eddie? And he goes in, and he nailed it. And with the street voice saying there should be no white people allowed.
It's funny. You can't have fun like that anymore. That was awesome.
No, you cannot.
That's awesome. At some point, for the first time, you sing a Frank Sinatra song.
Yeah.
Now you're going to get into him and I think study him even. I mean, it seems like you sound like you do, but it had to be just for fun at first. But something's going to take hold of you. What happens with him?
Yeah. Well, I did it at the Improv. I did a Frank Sinatra type parody at the Improv when I was doing the comedy clubs at the improvisation. So I would do Lady is a Tramp, but I never ended the song. I kept doing this. I kept, going around. That's why the lady, and I never, it was Andy Kaufman.
So it's funny, Frank. Got it.
Funny.
That's funny right there.
I go on SNL and I did Frank Sinatra there to the camera.
Yes.
And I did the old man and they loved it and wanted to do it, said, you got to do it. And I didn't want to do it. So they kept, we need that impression. You got to do the Frank Sinatra impression because we need these things. And I go, I can't insult Mr. Sinatra. That was like that because in New Jersey, as an Italian-American, Mr. S, you would go into a store as a kid, there would be two pictures. If you go into the barbershop, the Italian neighborhood, there would be the Pope and Frank Sinatra. Frank Sinatra was on top of the Pope. I'm just saying.
Understood.
So I said, all right, I wrote Mr. S a note. I wrote him a letter, formal letter. Oh. Sent it to Mickey Rudin, his lawyer at the time. This is done with respect. You are my father. You are my father's generation. You are everything. You exemplify everything great about Italian Americans. And I went ahead and did the old man, but I protected it and I made it fun. I didn't make it mean. I made it fun. But yes, I had a study. We had remember those little tape recorders, guys? Those little tape recorders. And I would listen to the old man. I couldn't get it. I'm listening, trying to capture it. Singing was one thing. Talking was no one talked like Mr. Sinatra. And then I found out. I went, wait, I sounded like Frank Sinatra because I'm a North Jersey Italian guy.
Right, you're halfway home.
I dropped it down and we just kind of talked the way the old man would always talk like that. Hey, how you doing? Yeah. It was kind of like that. So we nailed it. And Mr. S, it was very called me the vice chairman of the board.
Oh, so yeah, that we saw that. That's like, because Frank's the chairman of the board, guys. That's why I say he's the vice chairman. I had to learn one Frank Sinatra song. Okay. So and it was at a Tommy Lasorda Dodger manager event, and he liked Frank Sinatra, and they asked me, I got hired to sing at his event. Would you sing a Frank song? And I'm going, okay. I picked the simplest one I could find, which I deemed to be Pennies from Heaven. And I said, okay, I heard all about his phrasing. I'm going to nail Pennies from Heaven. I'm going to do it just like Frank. It took me longer to learn Pennies from Heaven because of his phrasing than Monday by the Mamas and Papas with the band. Wow. I mean, his phrasing was so complicated in a simple way. You don't think of it, but I read an article once that, it's the phrasing. And when I learned Pennies from Heaven, now you're going to learn tons of Sinatra songs. Did you try and mirror the phrasing? Were you into that aspect of his talent? How'd that go?
Yeah, exactly. It's instinctively, it felt right, but I listened to it so much. That's a great observation, by the way, because Pennies is not an easy song.
It wasn't.
Not the entrance is not easy.
Everything I tricked. The bridge is so good, but I tricked myself.
It's an offbeat. That
I know.
And down, bum, bum, bum.
I still have it memorized. Me and Joe are bonding.
Yeah, I'm rocking it. I'm in it. I'm in
it's
the
hard.
tune.
It was a gift.
I can tell you, when I met him at the Friars Club, and I met Mr. Sinatra, and for the first time, petrified. And I'm up at the podium, and it was a roast of Dean Martin, and I was invited by Mr. S. And at Saturday Night Live, just off, and I got Mr. S to my left. He's got a Jack Daniels in his hand. He's got a cigarette. He's watching me. Now I'm at the podium, and I did this to Frank Sinatra. I said, I love the way, sir, you say the word you. I said, like in the song, I don't stand the ghost of a chance. And I went for it. And I said, I don't stand a ghost of a chance with you.
Love it.
And I look, oh my God. And he goes like this. He looks at, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I call you Frank, and he goes, no. Like
Were you excited? Frank said no to me. He talked to me.
Did I call you Frank? No.
That's fantastic.
But all that phrasing I do, there are times where I sing, I'll go into, just for lack of a song. So usually when I do music on stage, we go with the band. I go with a full band, and we lay into the songs of Mr. S. You can't imitate him. You can channel him. You can respect him. Mm-hmm. You can't. People go out. These guys go out and they think they're going to do the old man. He hated that. He did not like that. He sent 60 cease and desist letters to everybody doing impressions, and he never sent one to me.
Wow.
No way.
He knew that I was doing comedy. He loved it. But there are times, if I'm in the song, that's life. That's what all the people say, shut down in May. It's like he would emphasize all those, and I have fun with it. But don't think you're Frank Sinatra. That's the thing that I always took to heart. I said, you're not the old.
It's just making me so happy hearing you talk about this.
I'll tell you what, I could talk about, we do the show. We'd like to tell all your folks listening that we, on Sunday night, we do a live show from WABC Radio, New York, WABCradio.com. And it's Sundays with Sinatra.
Yeah, we know that. Yeah.
Williams started with Sid Mark in Philly, and we play it out, and I study all the music. And I got to tell you, the breadth of that man's career
it's like ridiculous.
Really up to 8 decades. So, he's unbelievable. And by the way, excuse me, Nelson Riddle, how brilliant was that?
Well, listen, I was going to say,
you should do an album. You guys should do a Nelson Riddle type album, man. A Bay type album with the horn. Rocky, Dr. Rock Positano. He would do that in a second. That would be awesome. No?
Yeah,
of course it would. But listen,
we could have you as a guest singer. You could be a Cowsill. What, Bob?
Nelson Riddle is our bridge to Frank Sinatra because we did the Ed Sullivan Show, and we did know who Nelson Riddle was. And we did know, with the older boys, we did know about 3 Coins in a Fountain, which is a Nelson Riddle track. I'm almost sure of it. It's my favorite, actually. I have a favorite Frank Sinatra song. Can you believe it? 3 Coins in a Fountain.
I know that song, Bob.
I haven't heard all his stuff, but I'm stuck on that one. You'll hear it. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it is. I played it. He did a whole series of all Academy Award winning songs. And he sang it. I don't know how, when you guys went in the studio, if I may, it's like when Jimi Hendrix would go in, Chaz Chandler, the bass player for the Animals, would always have Jimmy get in and get out. Eric Burdon did House of the Rising Sun, rumor has it, in 1 take. Mr. Sinatra would do 1, 2, 3 takes, maybe more, but he never picked up. He never did any pickups. He started to end. He would start it, and if he didn't like it, they'd start it. But generally, he would do My Way, I heard, was 1 take. Paul Anka told me My Way was 1 take. And he went in December 30th, 1969, I believe. And he was about to go celebrate New Year's the next day. He lays it down. And now.
He did say now.
We weren't that good. Look, if we did a take from start to finish and it became the take, that was like a monumental, you could brag about that, okay? We punched in.
So this Sunday, this is a current thing, every Sunday, WABC.
Oh, yeah.
That's like your gig? Is it your day job?
I do radio every morning as political. You know, I do it either from here at home or I run into New York, and we do AM 9.
87 the answer in New York City, 6 to 10. You can drive around with Joe all morning long.
But I'm exhausted. It's like the politics, because I love this country and I just want to keep the peace, and I get fired up. Sundays, man, we sit back and we swing with, as we affectionately refer respectfully to, the old man, Mr. Frank Sinatra. You know,
that's awesome. I'm going to tune in.
Oh yeah, and you all like now I have to think, what am I doing this week? Because I like to do something different every week. So I did requests last week. We did reprise. We did the reprise collection the week before, but I featured Nelson Riddle. We featured Billy Mays, another great arranger.
Do you ever have chick female guest singers?
Yeah. You know who's great? Haley Reinhardt. Remember, she came in. She was Haley she came in like third in American Idol years ago.
Oh, I've heard of. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Oh, cool.
Her voice is magnificent, and I bring Haley in, and she play some of her stuff, her music, which is brilliant. And then she talks about the influence of Frank Sinatra and her life. Wow. She's 28 or something like that.
I could talk about the influence of Frank Sinatra in my life too, Joe.
Great, you guys.
Hey, you guys, I'm working here.
Yeah, Frank, right up there with Davy Jones, Susan. Right? Who are you kidding? Hey, but listen, we say these crazy comments like, "Yeah, Frank Sinatra called me and called me vice chairman." That's like the Beatles calling us and saying, "Hey, you're a good band." I can't imagine hearing from Frank Sinatra. It's all relative. Okay, so we got to let this man go soon, but we want to get into what you're doing now. Now, you? Look, we've all been shut down concert-wise, but you bring a big band on the road and do a Sinatra show, correct?
Yeah, we've gone out, and again, with respect to your talent as the iconic group that you are, yeah, I would go out. I say this so humbly because I'm not in your league in that regard musically, but I'll go out. I've sang with symphonies, 101 pieces.
Oh yeah.
We go out generally with 27 pieces. 17 is my great number for a big band. So it's very similar to the Basie band. We mimic what Mr. Sinatra did with the Count Basie Orchestra. And then because it gets so expensive, frankly, and people go, "Well, Joe, it's a little expensive when you tell the promoter you want to put a band in," we cut 17 to 10 and redid the charts. So 10 sounds like 17, and we'll double up.
I get that.
Like a Barry sax, I don't have strings. We got a band, and I'll tell you what, we lay into it, but I'll always pay tribute to Mr. Sinatra, but we do Johnny Cash. And then we do, I'll do a little Bruce, and then
fun
songs like myself. I'll do rap stuff even, I'm rapping Fats Joe Piscopo. I'd like to thank you all especially for coming to the show. I was born white, but I like to rap black. I hope you don't mind if some folks are heart attack. So we have fun,
Listen,
but not this week.
I loved it. Hey, that's that New Jersey album. I'm just going to say that he's got this song, "I Want to Sound Like a Black Man." Yes. You mean sing like a black man, okay? And then the song evolves and he does it. I don't know what to tell everybody. All right, now do you travel?
I can't decide if that's politically correct. So if you're watching, I did a song that I wrote in LA. I never forget. I wrote a song saying, "I want to sound like a black man when I sing," because everybody wants to sound, like a black man.
Absolutely. I do.
And you say that. And I said, I think you can say that. So we put together this great
you can say that.
Choral with a 30-person choral, like a complete black choir singing, and me being the white guy saying, "Hi, I'd like to sing like a black man."
Oh, it's hilarious. It's hilarious.
I have, my heroes were James Brown, my number one hero.
Absolutely.
James, man. And we used to listen to Wilson Pickett and Joe Tex. And
it's so sad. We can't poke fun anymore.
Art from Louis Armstrong to Sammy Davis Jr. Those are heroes to us growing up. And in the 60s, Jackie Wilson, you guys know. They wrote the book, so.
No kidding.
Do you travel with your musicians, or are you bringing charts to each city, calling the local union for the local,
like a pickup game only show?
Sometimes if it's close, I'll take the cats with me. See how I said the cats?
I love it. I love it.
TV. He's done TV most recently.
Yeah. But generally, we'll pick up. I'll take Rick Gordon is my conductor out of DC. and then we'll pick up the cats. I played Nebraska. We played Seattle.
That's cool. That's very old school.
I was in Carrollton, Georgia, and we did a whole set, man. And it's great. And people like talking, joking. When we joke around, we talk about politics. And then when I go into the music, it's like a retro Vegas style show,
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, right. It's like,
you coming to New Orleans?
I'm ready. I got to get down there. I got a lot of friends.
Let me know. I'd love to come see your show.
Hey, are we going on the road? When do we go out? Like March, I guess. March.
I hope so.
Huh?
Well,
yeah.
Listen, we're interested in something we saw that's happening at Stone Pony in Asbury Park. I think it's coming up with your son, Mikey.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what he's up to? Is he a performer with you?
Yeah, no. So it was a benefit at the Stone Pony. This was a month or so ago. So, and we got invited to go down. They invited me to go down. So at the Stone Ponies, it's Bruce Springsteen's home base. So I said, Cadillac. So I took my Gibson. I took the 335. I went down with Quincy Mumford, who's an incredibly talented young man from Asbury Park. And I say, being the good dad that I am, hey, my son Mikey plays the guitar pretty good. If you're watching, go to TikTok, Mikey Piscopo. The kid, by the grace of God Almighty, he plays like he hears Stevie Ray. He hears. Can execute it. I can never execute it. I can dance. I can play a number of instruments. This kid's unbelievable. I put him on stage. He smoked it.
Nice.
We did Pink Cadillac. I said, Mikey! I like that, He just went with it on his Stratocaster. It was awesome. So we're going to go out and keep your eye on Michael, because I love that. Yeah, and you, I think, with respect to what you have accomplished, being an iconic group in the American music scene, I love that he remembers that he's 19 years old and he's hip to it all. Hip to Stevie, you guys, hip to Stevie Ray, to Jimi Hendrix, and with respect to all of that. And he can rip it up. So I'm going to go out, I think, because I love doing rock and roll. All those songs, those early songs the Stones did, like Mercy, Have Mercy, Have Mercy. These were great songs. Strong My Love Is. Are these great songs? Huh?
Yeah, there's great deep cuts of,
Oh, man. So I'm trying to get my son I start playing those songs. Even Eric Burden, I'm crying. I don't hear you knocking on my door. I
love it, yeah.
The music was like, it exploded. It came out. It was the synchronization, the harmonies. It just seemed great. They seem to be missing now, but now I sound like a really old guy. Because I am.
The harmony is new again. That's the shot. Like everything else, it comes around. And guys, look, Joe has the passion. You can hear it. The only thing better than hearing a great song is being in a cover band that's performing it properly.
You bet.
It's like, you want to look at the shirt or you want to wear the shirt? What's better? Yeah. And he feels it and he knows it. You should go out and do a rock show then.
You guys, when you do your harmony is legendary. How do you hear it? Do you hear it? It's like, it just comes, you just hit the notes. You're like,
we were on stage when we were 7-year-olds and we're able to do it on our own and got that audience reaction went into choirs and we had a DNA strand.
We didn't have any lessons either. We were just little punk kids. It was just, it was in our DNA.
I did no chopsticks on the piano and I played it well.
Oh, I got to plug this. We got to plug it. If you're watching, you can go to beachboyscruise.com. So I worked with the Beach Boys 100 years ago on a special out of Hawaii with Paul Schaefer off of SNL. And it was like a Beach Boys special. And I just did a joke with the guys, with the Beach Boys. So Mike Love and the guys asked if I would join them at one of those cruises.
Yes.
And I said, the Beach Boys actually asked. I said, do they want me to sing? No.
They ask you, what do they want?
Come hang out. You can be with. So now it's the beachboycruise.com, I believe it is. Yeah. And it's March 25th. And we're going out just for 3 days. And we're going to go down to the Key West. And I'm going to be on the boat. But I think that, I think some of the other groups are going to be there. I wish I knew their names, but it's like the Beach Boys Cruise. So that's going to be a blast.
Well, listen, Joe, you're going to meet our brother John out there because he is the drummer for the Beach Boys. John Cowsills. You'll meet him. Tell him we said hi. Tell him you met us here on Zoom.
That's great. I want, and I'll just be watching. I'll be going, hey, mind if I do a little Bruce Springsteen?
Yeah. Go and razz him a bit. He's been their drummer for like 30 years.
Well, you give love to our brother John. He's been their drummer for 20 years or something.
You're going to dig the cruise. You're going to dig the whole thing. Because I can tell you just love playing and singing and doing it. It's going to be really, you'll be pumped.
I think they got a number of other groups there, and it's going to be sold out. But the Beach Boys go in, they do it. And you know what? I think I'm the comic relief. That's what I think I am.
Well, that's a very appropriate joke.
Amen. It's very appropriate. You imitate Mike Love.
Hold on. He wants to keep his job.
We got to thank Joe. We got to let him go. He's a busy guy for crying out loud. I want
to say something. This has been a real honor, Mr. Piscopo.
Yeah, Joe, you're incredible.
Yeah, you have blessed our podcast.
We have laughed our asses off for years with you.
Incredible.
I'm honored to be here, and a shout out. My best friend is Dr. Rock Positano, who you know.
We love our Rock. Rock is the
executive producer of all our projects, and he's our guide. We love him.
Loves you like family, as you know.
Yeah, we love him too. He's our angel.
As we all do. And so we're great. I'm honored to be here, man.
Here's to the Rock, man.
All right, everybody.
Thank you, mister. Hey, listen, if you ever come to New Orleans, let us know. Let me know. I live there. I'd love to come. I'm going to find you. I want to come watch you play music.
Thank you, Joe Piscopo.
Thank you, Joe Piscopo.
Enjoy your cruise with the Beach Boys. Love to our brother and love to you.
We love you, man.
Yeah. Thanks so much.
Wrapped it up.
God bless you.